the most horrifying executions of women in the Tower of London's the Tower of Glass, had stood on the edge of the city for centuries. It wasn't made of stone like the old fortresses. Its walls shimmered like liquid crystal, reflecting the sky in colors that shifted with the sun. No one outside the city had ever been inside, and even the citizens whispered tales of strange happenings within. It was said that the tower could test a person's mind and spirit, revealing their deepest fears. But in those rumors, some also spoke of the courage and brilliance that humans could show when faced with its challenges. Amara pressed her palm against the smooth glass wall, feeling its cold hum under her fingers. She had been chosen, not by luck but by skill and intellect, to enter the tower. The council of the city had been watching her for months, and today was the day she would prove herself. Amara's heart thumped with both excitement and fear. She knew stories of those who had failed, who had never returned, but she refused to let fear control her. Fear was just a shadow. Courage, she believed, was the flame. The tower's entrance was a giant archway that seemed to breathe, as if alive. As Amara stepped forward, the surface rippled and parted like water, letting her through. She glanced back once, seeing the city fading behind her, and then focused on what lay ahead. The first chamber was vast, with walls that seemed to stretch endlessly upward, disappearing into mist. In the center, a glowing pedestal held a single crystalline cube. Symbols glimmered on its surface, pulsing softly. Amara approached cautiously. "Welcome," a voice echoed, though no one was visible. It was calm, almost melodic. "You seek knowledge and courage. To proceed, you must solve the first challenge." She examined the cube. The symbols changed as she moved around it, forming patterns that almost seemed like letters, but not letters she recognized. Amara took a deep breath. She had spent years studying puzzles, codes, and languages. She let her mind quiet, observing instead of reacting. Slowly she traced the patterns with her eyes, noticing repetitions, symmetries, and hidden angles. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. The tower had its own sense of time. She rotated the cube, rearranged symbols in her mind, and suddenly a part of the pattern aligned perfectly. A soft click echoed and the pedestal sank into the floor. A door opened at the far end of the chamber, revealing a staircase spiraling upward. Amara smiled. She had passed the first test. The staircase led her into a corridor lined with mirrors. Each mirror reflected not only her image but also fragments of her past. She saw herself as a child, timid and shy, hiding behind her mother when strangers approached. She saw moments of doubt, moments when she had almost given up. And she saw moments of bravery, the first time she had spoken in public, the time she had solved a puzzle that even the elders of her city could not. A whispering wind filled the corridor. "You are your own greatest challenge," it said. Amara nodded. She knew this test was as much about facing herself as it was about any physical obstacle. She stepped carefully, making sure not to touch the mirrors, which seemed to react when she moved too quickly. One misstep and the reflection of doubt could trap her in endless loops of fear. Halfway through, a mirror shifted. It wasn't showing her reflection anymore, but a figure, a tall woman in armor, holding a sword that glimmered with light. The figure spoke without moving its lips. "Do you think you are ready for what comes next?" Amara's hands clenched. She had read of these illusions, tests designed to unsettle even the most prepared minds. "I am ready," she said firmly. The figure nodded, then melted into the mirror, leaving only Amara's reflection behind. She exhaled slowly, feeling her courage grow. At the end of the corridor, she found a room filled with floating platforms above a glowing chasm. Each platform moved in patterns, some rising, some falling, some spinning slowly. The next test, she realized, was agility and planning. One wrong step and she could fall into the unknown depths below, but Amara didn't panic. She studied the platforms, noting their patterns, timing her steps carefully. She moved with precision, each jump calculated, each landing firm. Midway, a platform tilted unexpectedly. She adjusted quickly, catching herself, and even managed a small smile. "Not so easy, are you?" she murmured, speaking to the tower itself as if it were a worthy opponent. When she reached the final platform, a voice filled the room again. "Well done, Amara. Few reach this point, but the greatest test is still ahead." A door appeared where none had been before. She entered, stepping into a library. Shelves towered above her, filled with books that glowed faintly with inner light. This was the chamber of knowledge, the place where minds were stretched to their limits. Here, the tower would ask questions, present dilemmas, and require solutions that only the most brilliant minds could find. At the center of the room was a holographic display, showing complex diagrams of machines, strange creatures, and abstract symbols. Amara approached it, feeling both awe and challenge. She had always been a quick learner, able to understand things that seemed impossible to others. Now, she would need all of that skill. The display shifted, forming a single equation that spanned the room. "Solve this," the voice said, "and you will prove that humanity can rise above the impossible." Amara studied the equation. It was unlike anything she had seen, yet there was a logic to it. Slowly, methodically, she broke it down. She wrote notes in the air with gestures, each movement producing lines of light that intersected and combined. Time seemed to stretch, yet she remained calm. Every mistake was a lesson, every failure a guide toward the solution. Finally, she stepped back. The equation pulsed, then glowed steadily. The voice returned, warmer now. "You have done well. You have shown courage, intelligence, and perseverance. The first part of your journey is complete. Rest, for the next challenge awaits, and it will test not only your mind but your heart." Amara sank onto a soft platform that appeared, feeling relief but also anticipation. She knew the tower would continue to push her, but she felt ready. Each challenge had strengthened her, revealing not only her capabilities but the incredible potential of humanity when faced with seemingly impossible trials. As she rested, she thought of the stories whispered outside the tower. Many had feared it, speaking only of danger and despair. But she had discovered something else. The tower was a place that revealed the best in people, that forced them to confront fear and rise above it. Humanity was not weak. It was brilliant, resourceful, and brave. And Amara was determined to show that, no matter what came next. With a deep breath, she closed her eyes, letting the soft glow of the chamber of knowledge surround her. Tomorrow, she would face the next part of the tower. She did not know what awaited her, but she felt a fire within that could not be extinguished. Fear might knock at the door, but courage would answer. The tower had tested her body, her mind, and her spirit, and she had passed. Outside, the city remained unaware of her progress, but one day they would know. They would hear of the bravery, the intelligence, and the unyielding spirit of the humans who could face the impossible and prevail. And that knowledge, Amara thought, was worth more than any treasure the tower could hide. The next morning, Amara woke to the soft hum of the chamber of knowledge. The glow of the shelves had dimmed slightly, but the air still vibrated with energy. The tower was alive, she realized, in ways she could barely understand. It wasn't just walls and puzzles. It was a test of her mind, her courage, and her heart. She rose, feeling stronger than the day before. Each challenge had taught her something: patience, observation, trust in herself. Today promised to be harder. The tower didn't give easy victories. It demanded growth, pushing humans to discover what they were truly capable of. A doorway appeared at the far end of the library, carved from the same liquid glass material as the tower's outer walls. She stepped through and found herself in a massive circular arena. Its walls were high and smooth, reflecting her image in hundreds of shards. In the center floated a series of golden orbs, each glowing with its own light, hovering silently as if waiting for her. "Welcome to the Chamber of Trials," the voice echoed, calm and clear. "Here, your decisions will shape the outcome." Your mind is strong, but your heart will guide you through this challenge. Amara's eyes narrowed. Decisions. Heart. She understood. This was not only a test of intellect but of her values and instinct. She approached the orbs carefully. Each orb contained a small scene, a miniature depiction of a human in peril facing danger. One showed a figure trapped in fire, another caught in a collapsing bridge, and another in a deep, icy cavern. "You must choose," the voice said. "Which human will you save?" Amara's heart pounded. She knew the tower was teaching her something far greater than simple problem-solving. Every choice she made could reflect the strength of her character, her empathy, and her determination. She paused, observing each orb. The fire burned quickly, demanding fast action. The icy cavern seemed slow but deadly, with little room for error. The collapsing bridge required balance, precision, and courage. After a long moment, Amara reached for the bridge. Her reasoning was simple. The human on the bridge had the most immediate chance of falling, and she believed that with quick thinking, she could save them without sacrificing anyone else. The orb responded instantly. The bridge extended from the arena floor, forming a narrow path suspended above a chasm filled with swirling light. Amara stepped onto it, feeling the weight of the challenge. The path shifted beneath her feet. She moved cautiously, testing the stability of the floating planks. Some tilted and rotated unexpectedly, forcing her to jump or balance with perfect timing. The tower tested not only her judgment but her ability to act under pressure. Every step demanded focus, quick calculations, and trust in her instincts. Halfway across, the plank beneath her cracked. Amara leaped forward, landing firmly, and felt a surge of triumph. She could save this human. She could rise to the challenge. Around her, the other orbs glimmered faintly, acknowledging her decision. The tower was observing, learning, and responding to her choices. Finally, she reached the end of the bridge. A small platform appeared, and on it, a holographic figure of the human from the orb materialized. They looked at her with gratitude, as if aware that she had risked herself to ensure their safety. Amara felt a warmth in her chest. Courage wasn't just about strength or skill. It was about care, empathy, and the willingness to act for others. "Your choice reflects your humanity," the voice said, "but the trials are far from over. The next challenge will test not only your abilities but your resilience and determination." Before she could respond, the platform shifted again, lifting her high above the arena. The walls of mirrors dissolved into mist, and she found herself in a long hallway lined with doors of varying colors and sizes. Each door hummed softly, almost invitingly. She could hear whispers through the walls, though they were indistinct, as if the tower itself were speaking to her in riddles. A note of caution ran through her mind. The tower had taught her to observe, to think before acting. She studied the doors carefully. Some were wide and welcoming, others narrow and forbidding. One pulsed with a bright red glow, another with calming blue, and a third with a soft golden light. Each seemed to promise something, but she knew the tower often disguised difficulty as opportunity. Amara placed her hand on the golden door. It felt warm, almost alive, humming in rhythm with her heartbeat. The moment she touched it, the door dissolved, revealing a new chamber. This one was filled with machines of strange design, gears floating without support, levers hanging in midair, and glowing conduits twisting around the room. The complexity was overwhelming, but Amara's mind thrived on challenge. She examined the machines. It was a puzzle, yes, but one that required both understanding and intuition. The tower didn't just want her to solve it, it wanted her to adapt, to innovate. She traced patterns in the air with her fingers, feeling the energy respond to her movements. Each correct alignment caused the machines to hum in harmony, lighting up pathways to the next mechanism. Hours, or what felt like hours, passed. The tower tested her patience, her problem-solving skills, and her endurance. But Amara remained focused. She was not alone in this struggle. She was part of a legacy of humans who faced impossible challenges and emerged stronger. That thought gave her strength. Humans were not fragile. They were inventive, resilient, and unyielding. Finally, with a final gesture, the last machine aligned. A soft chime echoed, and the room transformed. The machines melted into the floor, revealing a smooth passage that led upward. Amara felt a surge of triumph and relief. Each step had brought her closer not only to the tower's secrets, but to a deeper understanding of herself and humanity. She entered the passage and found herself on a balcony overlooking a vast hall. The ceiling stretched high above, filled with stars that seemed to move slowly, orbiting unseen centers. In the center of the hall floated a massive crystal, radiating a soft light that filled the space with warmth. Around it were inscriptions she could not read but somehow understood, symbols that spoke of courage, knowledge, and the power of unity. Amara approached the crystal. She felt a vibration in the air, as if the tower were speaking directly to her mind. Memories of the challenges she had faced, the bridge, the machines, the mirrored corridors, flooded her consciousness. The tower was teaching her that strength was not in isolation but in the harmony of skill, courage, and empathy. A figure appeared beside the crystal, luminous and ethereal. It was a woman, tall and regal, dressed in flowing robes that shimmered with the colors of dawn. "You have done well, Amara," the figure said. "Few have reached this point. The tower does not merely test the body or mind. It tests the essence of humanity itself. You have shown brilliance, courage, and compassion." Amara bowed her head, humbled. "I only did what I thought was right," she said softly. "And that is why you succeed," the figure replied. "To face the greatest challenges, one must balance intellect with heart. The tower will continue to test you, but you have learned what many never understand, that the human spirit is capable of greatness beyond imagination." The figure faded, leaving Amara alone with the glowing crystal. She reached out, letting her hand hover over its surface. Energy flowed through her, filling her with warmth and clarity. She could see visions of past humans who had faced the tower, imagining the courage and brilliance that allowed them to survive. She felt connected to them, part of a lineage of resilience and ingenuity. Suddenly, the crystal pulsed, and a doorway appeared at the far end of the hall. Amara knew this was the final stage of her current journey. She took a deep breath, feeling anticipation and determination. The tower had shown her that fear was only the shadow of courage, that challenges were opportunities to grow, and that humanity's true strength lay in its mind, heart, and spirit combined. As she stepped through the doorway, the hall of stars dissolved, replaced by a narrow bridge suspended above a chasm of shimmering light. Winds swirled around her, tugging at her robes and testing her balance. The path ahead was uncertain, and she could not see the end. But Amara did not falter. She focused on each step, drawing on everything the tower had taught her. Halfway across, the wind shifted violently, threatening to knock her off balance. She pressed forward, steadying herself, her hands outstretched for stability. At that moment, she realized the tower had never truly been an enemy. It was a teacher, a mirror of humanity's potential. Every challenge had been designed to reveal not weakness but strength. When she reached the other side, a final platform awaited. On it was a simple pedestal, and upon it, a single crystal sphere. She picked it up and felt a warmth radiating from within. It was a token of her progress, a symbol of the courage, intellect, and compassion she had shown. "Rest, Amara," the voice said. "The tower honors your achievements. Tomorrow, the final part of your trial will begin. Prepare yourself, for it will demand all that you have learned and more." Amara held the sphere close, feeling a sense of accomplishment and purpose. She knew that the tower's challenges were far from over, but she felt ready. Humanity's potential was limitless, and she intended to prove it. As she looked back toward the entrance she had come from, she realized that fear no longer held power over her. The tower had tested her in ways she could never have imagined. but she had risen above. The story of her journey would one day inspire others, showing that courage, intelligence, and compassion could overcome even the most impossible trials. With the crystal sphere in her hands and the lessons of the tower in her heart, Amara stepped forward to rest, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges and new opportunities to demonstrate the brilliance of the human spirit. Amara woke to the soft glow of dawn inside the tower, though outside the concept of day and night seemed distant. The chamber she rested in was calm, almost peaceful, a rare moment between trials. She held the crystal sphere close to her chest, feeling its warmth, a reminder of the progress she had made and the challenges she had overcome. Yet deep in her heart, she knew that the hardest part was still ahead. The doorway at the far end of the chamber shimmered, signaling the start of the next trial. She rose, steadying herself, and stepped forward. The floor beneath her seemed to stretch endlessly, forming a long corridor that twisted and turned with impossible geometry. The walls were covered with intricate patterns, constantly shifting as if alive. Amara realized the tower was testing not just her mind or courage, but her perception, her ability to adapt to changing realities. A soft, ethereal voice filled the corridor. "Welcome, Amara. You have shown great skill and bravery. Now the final part of your trial begins. Here your spirit will be tested, your limits challenged. Only those who truly embody the human spirit can succeed." Amara took a deep breath, stepping forward. The corridor's patterns shifted with each step she took. One moment she was walking on solid ground. The next, the floor seemed to tilt or disappear entirely, replaced by floating platforms. She learned quickly to trust her instincts, letting her mind calculate patterns while her body reacted instinctively. Midway through, she encountered the first real test of her spirit. A series of floating platforms stretched across a vast chasm of shimmering light. Each platform carried a human figure frozen in a moment of fear or distress. They were illusions, projections, yet they felt real. The tower demanded she act, to show courage, empathy, and decisiveness. Amara hesitated for a moment, then focused on the nearest figure. It was a young boy, teetering on a platform that was slowly tipping into the abyss. She leaped forward with precision, catching him just as he lost balance. The platform stabilized, and the boy's eyes filled with gratitude. Amara felt warmth in her chest. She had passed this test of courage and empathy. The next platform presented a different challenge. It was wide, covered with shifting tiles that changed color with every step. One wrong step, and she would be thrown back to the beginning of this stage. She realized this was a test of intelligence and observation. She studied the tiles carefully, noting the patterns, the subtle shifts in hue that indicated stability. Then, step by step, she moved forward, each footfall deliberate, precise, and confident. Halfway across, a sudden surge of wind threatened to knock her off balance. The tower was testing her resilience, forcing her to maintain focus under pressure. Amara crouched low, her hands brushing the surface of the tiles for balance, and moved swiftly yet carefully. She reached the other side, her heart pounding but steady. The tower had acknowledged her adaptability and determination. Beyond the platforms, she entered a chamber filled with mirrors, but these were no ordinary reflections. Each mirror displayed a version of herself, not as she appeared now, but as she could be: stronger, weaker, braver, or fearful. She walked slowly, observing each reflection, understanding that the tower wanted her to face not only physical and mental challenges, but also the deepest aspects of her character. A reflection spoke, its voice her own but with a strange resonance. "Do you have the strength to continue, to rise above fear, doubt, and uncertainty?" Amara's eyes met the reflection's. "Yes," she said firmly. "Strength is not the absence of fear. Strength is moving forward despite it." The mirror shimmered, acknowledging her response, and dissolved into mist. The corridor beyond opened into a vast arena, filled with glowing orbs, each representing a puzzle, a challenge, or a moral choice. Amara understood that the tower was now combining everything she had learned, courage, intelligence, empathy, resilience, into a single trial. She approached the first orb. It projected a scenario, a city under threat from a powerful storm. Amara had to manipulate the elements, shifting energy flows to protect the citizens. Using the knowledge and logic she had honed through her previous trials, she carefully adjusted the patterns, channeling energy to create safe zones. The storm dissipated, and the city's miniature inhabitants moved freely, safe and unharmed. The orb pulsed in approval, and she felt a surge of pride. The next orb presented a puzzle of communication. A group of creatures, intelligent but fearful, needed guidance to cross a dangerous terrain. Amara studied their movements, their signals, and devised a plan. She guided them safely across, ensuring none were left behind. Again, the orb pulsed, affirming her success. The tower was teaching her that intelligence without compassion was incomplete. True strength lay in combining mind and heart. Then she faced the final orb. This one was larger, more complex, and emanated an almost overwhelming energy. It displayed a scenario not of others, but of herself, facing a choice that could determine her own survival. The path split into three. One was safe but offered no challenge, another was dangerous but tested her limits, and the third was uncertain, requiring intuition, courage, and sacrifice. Amara paused, feeling the weight of the decision. She knew the tower's purpose, to reveal the depth of humanity's spirit. Choosing the easy path would be safe but meaningless. The dangerous path could lead to failure. The uncertain path would require trust in herself and her understanding of what it meant to be human. With a steady breath, she chose the uncertain path. Instantly, the orb expanded, engulfing her in a whirlwind of light and energy. The chamber shifted, and she found herself on a narrow bridge suspended above a sea of stars, each step unstable and shifting. Wind swirled, visibility was low, and the path ahead seemed to vanish and reappear unpredictably. Amara focused. She recalled every lesson the tower had taught her: observation, analysis, patience, empathy, courage. She moved step by step, letting her instincts guide her while keeping her mind sharp. Every challenge along the way became a reminder that humans could rise above uncertainty, fear, and danger when they combined intellect and heart. Midway, the bridge fractured beneath her. She leaped, twisting midair to land safely on a stable section. The stars below seemed to swirl faster, testing her balance and resolve. She adjusted quickly, letting her body respond naturally, her mind calculating angles and distances instinctively. Each movement reflected human adaptability and ingenuity, proving that even in impossible situations, determination and skill could prevail. Finally, she reached a platform where a glowing figure awaited, an embodiment of the tower itself. Its voice resonated with both authority and warmth. "Amara, you have shown courage, intellect, empathy, and resilience. You have faced your fears, protected others, and trusted in yourself. Few humans can reach this stage, and few are still with the grace you have shown." Amara bowed her head, humbled yet proud. "I only did what I thought was right," she said. "And that is why you have succeeded," the figure replied. "The tower has tested you, but you have proven that the human spirit is capable of greatness beyond any challenge. Knowledge alone is not enough. Courage alone is not enough. Only when combined with compassion, intuition, and resilience does humanity truly shine." The platform beneath her shifted, lowering her gently to a new chamber filled with light and soft energy. In the center, a massive crystal pulsed with warmth, radiating a gentle hum that seemed to resonate with her very being. The figure spoke once more. "Here lies the reward not of treasure, but of understanding. You now see the strength that resides within humanity. The tower's trials are designed to reveal potential, to inspire courage, and to ignite brilliance in those who dare to rise. Amara stepped forward and placed her hands upon the crystal. A flood of images, emotions, and knowledge filled her mind. She saw humans from distant worlds, facing challenges, creating solutions, and showing resilience in impossible circumstances. She understood deeply that the tower was not a place of punishment, but of enlightenment, a crucible that shaped those who entered into extraordinary beings capable of surpassing limits. A door appeared, glowing softly. Beyond it lay the final stage of this part of the tower. Amara took a deep breath, feeling a combination of anticipation and calm resolve. She had grown stronger, wiser, and more aware of the limitless potential that humanity carried within. As she stepped through, she found herself on a vast terrace overlooking a landscape of glowing rivers, floating islands, and a sky painted with colors she could not name. The tower stretched endlessly, and she realized she had only glimpsed a fraction of its mysteries. Yet she felt no fear. Instead, she felt exhilaration, purpose, and a profound understanding of what humans could achieve when they embraced courage, intellect, and heart together. The tower had tested her to her limits, yet she had not only survived, she had thrived. Every obstacle had revealed a truth. Humans were not fragile, not weak, not insignificant. They were adaptable, inventive, and brilliant. And Amara was determined to carry this lesson forward, both for herself and for the generations that would follow. She looked toward the horizon, toward the final trials that awaited. The tower had one last challenge, one that would require everything she had learned, and perhaps something more. But Amara was ready. She was not just a visitor in the tower. She was a representative of humanity itself, a proof that courage, intelligence, and heart could overcome even the most daunting trials. With steady steps and unwavering resolve, she moved forward. The tower watched, the light pulsed, and the adventure continued. Humanity's brilliance would shine through, and Amara would be the proof that even in the most challenging circumstances, humans could rise, innovate, and inspire. Amara stepped onto the final terrace of the tower, her eyes widening at the breathtaking sight before her. The sky stretched endlessly, painted in shimmering shades of gold, violet, and silver. Floating islands drifted gently, connected by bridges of light that pulsed with energy. Rivers of glowing liquid wound through the landscape, reflecting the radiant stars above. She could feel the tower's energy vibrating through the air, a pulse that seemed to echo her own heartbeat. A soft voice, familiar and resonant, filled the space. Amara, you have endured. You have proven your courage, intelligence, empathy, and resilience. But one last trial awaits, the final test of spirit. Here, the essence of humanity itself will be reflected, and only those who rise above fear and doubt will succeed. Amara took a deep breath. She felt no hesitation, only determination. She had faced illusions, physical trials, puzzles, moral choices, and challenges that tested every part of her mind and heart. She understood now that the tower was not an enemy, but a guide, a force that revealed the true potential of those who dared to confront it. Before her, a platform formed, suspended over a chasm that stretched into infinity. On it rested 3 doors, each radiating a different color and aura. The voice spoke again. Each door represents a path, one of safety, one of challenge, and one of uncertainty. Only one will lead you to the tower's heart. Choose wisely. Amara studied the doors carefully. The safe path glowed softly, inviting comfort and ease. The challenging path radiated intensity, demanding skill and courage. The uncertain path flickered between light and shadow, calling upon intuition, trust, and resolve. She knew instantly which path to choose. Humans thrived not in comfort but in the unknown, where courage and ingenuity could flourish. She reached for the uncertain door. The moment her fingers touched the surface, the door dissolved into light and the platform lifted into the air, carrying her forward. The journey across the chasm was treacherous. Winds howled, and the bridge beneath her feet shifted and rotated unpredictably. Each step demanded focus, balance, and precision, yet Amara felt no fear. Every challenge she had faced had prepared her for this moment. She trusted her instincts, her mind, and her heart. Midway, a sudden surge of energy struck the platform, threatening to topple her into the abyss. Amara crouched low, steadying herself, and leaped with perfect timing, landing safely on a section that glowed with a soft golden light. The tower seemed to acknowledge her skill, its energy pulsing in rhythm with her resolve. She realized the test was not just physical, it was a reflection of humanity's adaptability and ingenuity under pressure. At the end of the bridge, a new chamber opened. It was circular, enormous, with walls that shimmered like liquid silver. In the center floated the tower's heart, a massive crystal sphere radiating warmth and light, surrounded by intricate, moving patterns. The air was alive with energy, and Amara could feel her mind and spirit responding to it. The voice spoke again. To reach the tower's heart, you must face your final trial, not of body, nor of intellect alone, but of essence. Show the courage to embrace the unknown, the wisdom to trust your mind, and the compassion to honor all life. Amara stepped forward. The moment she touched the crystal, visions filled her mind. She saw humans on distant worlds, facing challenges and finding solutions. She saw acts of bravery, ingenuity, and compassion that spanned generations. She felt the collective spirit of humanity, the ability to adapt, to overcome, to innovate, and to care. The tower's heart was not a prize. It was a mirror reflecting humanity at its finest. Suddenly, the crystal pulsed, projecting a series of trials before her. The first was a labyrinth of light, twisting and turning impossibly. She had to navigate it using not only intellect but also intuition. She recalled everything she had learned, the patterns in the machines, the shifting platforms, the mirrored corridors, and moved with confidence. Each turn revealed a new challenge, and she adapted seamlessly. The second trial tested her courage. She faced illusions of danger, abysses that seemed to stretch endlessly, storms that threatened to sweep her away, and shadows that whispered doubt into her mind. But Amara had learned that fear was only a shadow. She confronted each illusion calmly, using reason, balance, and self-trust to pass through unscathed. Her courage was now tempered with experience, stronger than ever before. The third trial was the most profound. A vision appeared, showing the world outside the tower, filled with humans struggling, suffering, and striving. She realized the tower's ultimate test was not about her alone. It was about how she would use her skills, courage, and heart to inspire, protect, and guide others. Compassion and wisdom were as crucial as courage and intelligence. Amara understood this deeply. With resolve, she focused on the vision. She envisioned solutions to the problems shown, humans collaborating, sharing knowledge, and solving challenges together. She felt their hopes, fears, and determination. The tower responded, its energy flowing around her, confirming that humanity's potential lay not just in one individual, but in the collective spirit of courage, ingenuity, and empathy. As she completed the vision, the crystal's light intensified, surrounding her completely. She felt energy flowing through her, connecting her mind, body, and spirit with the tower itself. It was as if the tower was affirming her as a true reflection of humanity's brilliance, a proof that courage, intelligence, and heart together could achieve the impossible. The final stage of the trial arrived. The chamber transformed into a vast arena, open to the cosmos. Floating islands, rivers of light, and glowing constellations stretched endlessly around her. The voice spoke one last time. Amara, you have shown what it means to embody the human spirit. Your journey is complete. Yet remember, the tower is not an end but a beginning. Go forth and carry the lessons you have learned: courage, intellect, empathy, and resilience. Let humanity shine. Amara stood at the center, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment and connection. The tower had tested her in ways she had never imagined, yet she had emerged triumphant. Every challenge, every puzzle, every moment of doubt had revealed not weakness, but strength. The journey had proven that humans were capable of brilliance far beyond ordinary imagination. Suddenly, a doorway of pure light appeared. Amara stepped through and found herself back in the city she had left weeks ago. The streets were familiar, yet everything seemed brighter, alive with possibility. She carried the crystal sphere in her hands, a symbol not of power but of understanding. People gathered around her, curious and awed. They could feel the energy she radiated, the confidence, clarity, and courage that came from facing and overcoming the tower's trials. Amara smiled, knowing that her journey was now a beacon of hope and inspiration. She held the crystal high. The tower tests us not to break us but to show what we are capable of. Courage, intelligence, empathy, and resilience, these are humanity's true strength. Together, we can achieve greatness and rise above any challenge. The crowd cheered, not for her alone, but for the spirit of humanity she had proven. Amara felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The tower's lessons would live on through her, guiding others to face challenges with wisdom, courage, and compassion. As the sun set over the city, painting the sky in brilliant hues, Amara gazed toward the tower in the distance. It stood tall and radiant, a reminder that the path to greatness was always there for those willing to take it. She knew that her journey was only the beginning, that more challenges awaited humanity, and that the potential to rise above the impossible was limitless. With renewed determination, Amara stepped forward into the world, ready to face whatever came next. The tower had shown her that humanity was extraordinary, not because of strength or power alone, but because of the brilliance, courage, and heart that each person carried within. And that brilliance, she knew, would light the way for generations to come. The city had changed since Amara returned from the tower. Its streets were filled with a renewed sense of purpose, and its people moved with determination in their steps, inspired by the story of her trials. Yet Amara knew that inspiration alone was not enough. True courage and human brilliance were revealed through action, through solving real challenges, and through uniting people to face the unknown. Amara walked through the city square, the crystal sphere she had carried from the tower glowing faintly in her hands. The light from the sphere seemed to pulse in rhythm with the city itself, connecting her to every person around her. The tower had shown her that humanity's strength lay in both the individual and the collective, and she intended to put that lesson into practice. News had arrived from the outer settlements. A massive storm system was approaching, one unlike any seen before. Its energy was unpredictable, its scale immense. People were afraid, unsure how to protect their homes and communities. Amara understood instantly. This was her chance to apply what the tower had taught her. Courage, intelligence, empathy, and resilience. These qualities would now guide her in the real world. She gathered a team of engineers, scientists, and volunteers, each eager to contribute. The city's resources were limited, but Amara saw opportunity in every challenge. Together, they analyzed the storm's patterns, studying its intensity, speed, and path. Using the lessons from the tower, Amara devised a plan that combined strategy, innovation, and human ingenuity. She assigned tasks carefully, ensuring each person's strengths were utilized effectively. As the storm approached, Amara led her team to construct protective barriers along the riverbanks. They built energy shields powered by the city's technology, guided water flows to prevent flooding, and created evacuation routes for the most vulnerable. It was a massive effort, and the wind and rain tested them every step of the way. But Amara remained calm, encouraging her team and adapting the plan as conditions changed. Hours turned into a day, and the storm raged with relentless force. Many times it seemed impossible to hold back its power. Yet every time the team faced a setback, Amara reminded them of the lessons from the tower. that challenges were not meant to break them but to reveal their potential. Together, they innovated, using quick thinking to reinforce barriers, reroute water, and keep the city safe. At one point, a section of the riverbank began to collapse. Amara raced toward it, coordinating volunteers to stabilize the area. She noticed a young engineer struggling with a malfunctioning device that controlled part of the energy shield. Without hesitation, she stepped forward, adjusting the mechanism with precision. Sparks flew, but her determination never wavered. The shield activated fully, holding the water at bay. The engineer looked at her with awe and gratitude, realizing the power of teamwork guided by knowledge and courage. As night fell, the storm reached its peak. Lightning flashed across the sky, and thunder shook the city. Yet Amara and her team continued, moving tirelessly, solving problems as they arose. She thought back to the tower, the bridge that shifted beneath her feet, the illusions of danger, the puzzles of knowledge and morality. The tower had prepared her for this moment, teaching her that fear could be overcome with focus, skill, and heart. By dawn, the storm began to lose strength. The protective measures held. Homes were safe, lives were saved, and the city stood resilient. The people emerged from shelters, exhausted but relieved. They looked at Amara and her team with admiration, understanding that courage and ingenuity had made the difference. It was not magic, not luck. It was the brilliance of humans working together, guided by knowledge and heart. Amara stepped onto a raised platform in the city square. Her hands rested on the glowing crystal sphere, now a symbol not only of her journey in the tower, but of what humanity could achieve when it faced adversity with determination and creativity. She spoke clearly, her voice carrying across the square. "We have faced danger and we have overcome it. This storm tested us, but it also revealed who we are. Humanity is capable of great things, not because we are fearless, but because we act despite fear. We solve problems, protect each other, and rise to every challenge. That is our strength. That is our brilliance." The crowd cheered, but Amara knew the true victory was deeper than applause. It was in the way people had come together, shared their skills, and trusted in each other. The tower had shown her that potential was limitless when courage, intelligence, and heart worked together, and now she had seen it realized on a larger scale. Yet her work was not finished. Amara knew that challenges would continue, new threats and obstacles would arise, and humanity would need to be ready. She traveled to neighboring settlements, sharing her knowledge, teaching strategies for resilience, and inspiring leaders to unite their communities. Everywhere she went, she carried the message of the tower, that humans were capable of brilliance when they faced the unknown with courage, intellect, and compassion. One evening, standing on a cliff overlooking the city, Amara reflected on her journey. The tower loomed in the distance, its glass walls shimmering in the fading sunlight. She had entered it as one among many, uncertain and cautious. She had faced trials that tested every part of her being and had emerged not only stronger herself but as a symbol of humanity's potential. A soft voice, echoing from memory, filled her mind. "The tower honors your achievements. Go forth and carry the lessons you have learned." Amara smiled. The lessons were clear. Fear could be overcome, knowledge must be applied, courage must guide action, and compassion must never be forgotten. Humans could adapt, innovate, and inspire, not just as individuals but collectively as a species capable of greatness. Months passed, and Amara's efforts continued. She helped design advanced weather management systems, trained teams in emergency response, and encouraged scientific exploration. Each success reinforced a fundamental truth: humans were not limited by circumstance. They were limited only by their willingness to rise, to think, and to act. Children who had heard of her story began experimenting with inventions, solving puzzles, and exploring the world with curiosity and courage. Young leaders emerged, inspired by her example, showing initiative, creativity, and empathy. Communities became stronger, more resilient, and more united. The tower's lessons had spread far beyond its walls, igniting a spark of human brilliance across the region. Amara often returned to the city square, the crystal sphere in her hands, a reminder of her journey. She watched as people collaborated, problem-solved, and supported each other. She realized that the true purpose of the tower was not to test one individual, but to inspire an entire species to recognize and embrace its potential. One day, she gathered a group of young leaders. "Remember this," she said, holding the crystal aloft. "Courage is not the absence of fear. Intelligence is not knowledge alone, but the application of understanding. Compassion is the bridge between heart and mind, and resilience is the fuel that drives humanity forward. Together, these are our greatest strengths." The leaders nodded, understanding that the lessons of the tower were not simply a story, they were a blueprint for the future. They spread these lessons to their communities, teaching that human brilliance could overcome even the greatest challenges. As the sun set, casting a golden glow across the city, Amara looked toward the tower one last time. It stood tall, radiant, and eternal, a silent witness to her journey. She knew that others would enter its halls, face its challenges, and discover the same truths. Humanity would continue to rise, innovate, and shine, each individual carrying the spark of courage, intelligence, empathy, and resilience. Amara felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The tower had not only tested her, it had revealed her potential and the limitless potential of all humans. She smiled, knowing that the lessons she had learned and shared would inspire generations to come. Fear might always exist, challenges would always arise, but humanity had proven that it could rise above, thrive, and illuminate the path forward. With one final look at the horizon, Amara turned and walked toward the city, ready to face the future, to guide, to inspire, and to continue proving that the human spirit was capable of extraordinary things. The tower had shown her the brilliance of humanity. Now it was her turn to ensure that brilliance would shine for all to see.